Hello, and welcome back to your English listening practice. Today, I want to share a personal story with you. It's about one of the most memorable holidays I ever had. As you listen, try to notice the order of events and pay attention to some new words. Later, I'll ask you a few questions to check your understanding. Storytelling. It all started 2 years ago, during the summer. I decided to take a short trip with my best friend. We both wanted to go somewhere new, exciting, but not too far away. After thinking about different options, we chose Portugal. Neither of us had ever been there before, and we had heard about the beautiful beaches and friendly people. We booked cheap tickets and a small hotel by the sea. When the day finally arrived, we were full of energy. First, we flew into Lisbon, the capital. The weather was warm, the sun was shining, and everything felt so alive. On the very first evening, we walked through the old streets. The buildings were colorful, with red roofs and decorated tiles. We could hear music from cafes and see groups of people talking and laughing outside. It felt magical, too. Simple explanation. Let me explain in a simpler way. I went on holiday to Portugal with my friend. It was summer and the weather was very good. We stayed in a hotel near the beach. First, we arrived in Lisbon, the capital city. We walked in the old town. We saw beautiful houses, red roofs, and special tiles on the walls. We heard music from cafes. People were outside, talking and laughing. It felt very special. 3. Context. Who was there? Just me and my best friend. We had been friends since high school, and we often traveled together. Where did it happen? Mainly in Lisbon, and later in a smaller town by the coast. When did it happen? In the summer of 2022, during our vacation. Why was it memorable? Because everything was new for us. The culture, the food, the language, even the rhythm of daily life. How did we prepare? We read a little about the history of Lisbon, learned a few Portuguese words like obrigado, thank you, and packed light clothes for the summer heat. 4. Importance. This holiday was important for me for many reasons. First, it was a chance to relax after a stressful year. Second, it helped me understand another culture. I learned that Portuguese people love to share food, music, and stories. I also saw how history lives in the streets, old buildings, castles, and squares that tell stories from the past. It also showed me the value of friendship. Traveling with my best friend made the experience more enjoyable. We laughed at small mistakes, like getting lost in the city or ordering food we didn't understand. Instead of feeling upset, we made memories. Finally, it made me realize how important it is to explore new places. Every trip teaches something new, not only about the world, but also about ourselves. 5. Personal touches. One of the funniest moments happened in a small restaurant. We wanted to try traditional food, but the menu was only in Portuguese. I tried to guess what the words meant, but I made a mistake. I thought I ordered grilled chicken, but the waiter brought us octopus instead. At first, I was shocked. I had never eaten octopus before, but my friend encouraged me to try it. To my surprise, it was delicious. We laughed about that mistake for the rest of the trip. Another memorable moment was watching the sunset by the sea. We sat on the sand, listening to the sound of the waves. The sky turned orange, pink, and purple. It was so peaceful that we stayed there in silence for a long time. When I think back to that holiday, I don't just remember the places. I remember the feelings, excitement, surprise, joy, and even the taste of new food. That's what makes it unforgettable. Reflection, connection. Now let's reflect together. Think about your own life. Have you ever had a holiday that you will never forget? What made it special? Was it the place, the people, or the experiences? Traveling often teaches us lessons. In my case, I learned to be open-minded. If I had refused to eat octopus, I would have missed one of the best meals of my life. Sometimes, trying something new is scary, but it can bring joy. Also, traveling showed me that mistakes are part of the adventure. Getting lost, ordering the wrong dish, or mispronouncing words, these can all become funny stories later. What about you? Have you ever had a misunderstanding when you traveled? How did you feel in that moment? Finally, think about friendship. Do you prefer traveling alone, with friends, or with family? For me, sharing the journey with a close friend made it better. But some people love solo travel because it gives them freedom. What about you? So here are some questions to reflect on. If you could travel anywhere tomorrow, where would you go? Would you try strange food in another country? Why or why not? Do you think it is important to learn a few words of the local language before traveling? Vocabulary review. Memorable. Something you will never forget. Tiles. Small flat pieces, usually ceramic, used to decorate walls. Octopus. A sea animal with 8 arms, sometimes used in food. Sunset. The time when the sun goes down in the evening. Unforgettable. Impossible to forget. Very special. Adventure. An exciting and unusual experience. Comprehension questions. Where did the narrator travel? Who did they go with? What mistake did they make in the restaurant? How did they feel about eating octopus? What special moment did they have on the beach? Why was the holiday important to the narrator? What lesson did they learn from the trip? Closing. Thank you for listening to this personal story. I hope it helped you practice your English and also inspired you to think about your own travel experiences. Try listening again, write down the new words, and answer the questions. Remember, practice every day and your English will grow stronger. See you next time.